Okay, so welcome to the Brantford Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting for Thursday, November the 9th. Just confirming that roll call has been taken by the clerk.
The roll has been taken.
Thank you. The Brantford Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting is now called to order. To begin, we will go over some rules of procedure. This meeting is being held in a hybrid format in accordance with the electronic participation policy for virtual meetings. The full corporate policy -050 regarding electronic virtual meetings is available online to review. Staff and delegates are reminded to keep their videos and microphones off until requested by the chair or members of the committee. All cameras for committee members shall remain on to ensure quorum. Members of the committee shall indicate they wish to speak by physically raising their hand. Members who are present in person will be given the opportunity to speak first, followed by virtual participants. All members of the committee will vote by a physical show of hands. Please leave your hand raised until the chair has determined the result of the vote. In the event of a connection service interruption occurs that affects quorum, we may recess the meeting for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting will be adjourned. All rules for delegations under the city's procedural bylaw continue to apply. Moving on to item 2 on the agenda, are there any declarations of conflict of interest for any items listed on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. We have no presentations or delegations in open session today. There is one item for consideration on today's agenda, and so I will ask staff to come forward to provide an overview of this item. And do we have Jenny?
Yes. Actually, it's myself.
Oh,
Councillor
okay, Maria. Okay.
I'm actually in the room at City Hall.
Okay, good.
So yes, thank you very much. I'd like to just provide a really brief overview of the report that was in the committee's agenda package with respect to some ideas that staff are exploring about the way in which we promote awareness and educate the community during National Accessibility Awareness Week in 2024. So the committee may recall that when we last met, we talked about relaunching the Accessibility Awards program, and thank you very much for the committee's endorsement of that. That will go forward, and we will begin the process for nomination in early 2024 and celebrate those who are acknowledged during National Accessibility Awareness Week. We also, prior to COVID, some of the returning members may recall that we talked about doing an event to, again, celebrate diversity and inclusivity in our community and to use that as an opportunity to educate about accessibility. So myself, along with the accessibility plant coordinator, Jenny, and our colleague, affectionately referred to as David B. from our Community Services and Social Development Commission, have been brainstorming. And as part of a broader initiative, the city has been involved in the UNESCO Coalition of Inclusive Municipalities. Basically what that means is that the city has committed to developing an inclusive community plan to celebrate, promote, and support cultural values and diversity. We thought this would be a really good fit with National Accessibility Awareness Week, and we'd like to propose doing an event that would have a fair-like approach where we would involve agencies, community agencies, and partners throughout the community who have diversity inclusion as part of their mandate to be a part of the fair in that event. So exactly what that looks like, we're still working through that, but before we got too far with the planning process, we wanted to make sure that this is something that the committee would endorse and feel comfortable with us pursuing. In addition to that fair-like approach, that event, we also are proposing that we develop an experiential video. Again, prior to COVID, we talked about doing some type of a lived experience event where we had Mayor Davis or potentially members of council or other stakeholders in the community who want to be involved, participate in experiencing what it's like to be a person that lives with disabilities and the challenges and barriers that they may face in just going about their daily functions. So oops, are you okay? Okay. Sorry, just a little spillage in the room here. Okay. So instead of doing a live event where people are perhaps under the spotlight, we thought we would do a video involving some members of council, whoever would want to participate. We would show the video at the event, and then we would have the participants come and speak to what their experiences were like. And again, this is to add another education element. And the beauty of doing a video is it's something that we could share beyond the event. And it could be a legacy piece that we use year over year as part of our education plan. So that's a very broad description of what we are proposing. I could certainly call on David or Jenny if they want to add any other commentary to what I've already explained.
Through the chair, thank you, Maria. Again, I'm David V. I'm a Community Initiatives Coordinator with the City of Brantford, and I think, Maria, I think you said it perfectly. Really what my role as staff is to see how we're able to engage our community in a meaningful way. And with a lot of consultation and a lot of conversation with our community, I basically took some information and turned my attention to our accessibility coordinator, Jenny, to sort of get a feel for what might be a good idea. And again, I think as Maria spoke earlier, it's in an inception stage, but what we're trying to create is a larger event, something, and not specifically like, but something similar, let's say, to what they do at a CARP fair, the Canadian Association of Retired Persons. Having a large case where people can find activities and resources and a means to meaningfully collect and connect with one another. So as this process is starting out, we will, of course, keep committee here informed of that process. But I think that's the idea that we're walking in with, something that's large, comprehensive, and something, most importantly, I think that's sustainable. Something that we look at that can be delivered and built upon over time. With a larger event, maybe it's a larger kickoff to the community to really accent the celebration of trying to create an inclusive community. And our plan is to have that running during the last 2 days to the first 5 days of June. Last 2 days of May to the first 5 days of June, specifically in around National Accessibility Awareness Week. And of course, we'll be prepared to run that. Again, the logistics are things that we're working for. And I'd like to thank both Jen and Maria for really assisting and supporting and creating a really solid understanding of what that might look like. An accessibility fair is very nuanced. And as staff, we're humbled by the understanding of doing it, but we're very much looking forward to that. So thank you for the opportunity to catch up with you and to speak on that.
David.
Great, thank you. Thank you both to both of you. So I'm going to ask for a mover and a seconder to place the item on the floor. And if somebody's raising their hands in the room, if you could just help me out there.
I'll
move it. Madison.
Okay. And a seconder.
Bev. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So the item that we just put on the floor is that the report 2023-679 regarding National Accessibility Awareness Week 2024 be received, and that the staff be directed to detail the plan presented herein for the committee's approval at the next back meetings. So any discussion or questions regarding the report that we've I don't see any virtual hands. If there's any hands up in the room.
Mayor Davis.
Mayor Davis, I did see your hand. Go ahead.
Sorry, Russ, I thought you were asking my vote.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
the report is perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so if there's no one else to speak to it, I will chime in. So excellent report, great initiative. So thank you to our staff for thinking this through and putting this together. I think back to probably a good 10 or 12 years ago now when I chaired this committee and we tried to think around the terms of having some kind of accessibility expo around National Accessibility Awareness Week. So it's great for me to see as a councillor now that idea is advancing forward, 12 years later, and we're coming up with an idea. So I think it's a great opportunity. And I'm also just gonna, kind of add for the I'm somebody that works in this space on a daily basis, but the Abilities Expo, which is the large event that used to be held in Toronto on an annual basis, the Abilities Expo has actually dropped the Canadian event from their schedule. So there's now no longer even a larger regional event for persons with disabilities to attend to either for education or for looking at opportunities to whether it's product demonstrations or anything like that, resources. So I'm certainly one that used to drive into Toronto to go to the Abilities Expo on an annual basis. But that's not even an opportunity that's available now. So I think it's really something from the standpoint of our municipality that we will probably draw from well beyond our borders to be able to have an event like this in our community, because as I said, there's that void now where persons with disabilities outside of our greater Brantford area don't actually have an opportunity to attend that kind of event now. So again, I think that also bodes well for the success of the event. So thank you for that, and I certainly look forward to working with staff and the rest of the committee from a council perspective on making that happen. So thank you. Just going back to the agenda. So if there's no other discussion or questions, I'll now call the vote on the item on the table.
All those in favor?
Can I just interject for one moment?
Sure.
I'm sorry, it took me a minute to get unmuted. Moving forward, we will be looking for some assistance from the committee to help with ideas and carry this out. So if you're interested, if you can contact me or Maria, that would be fantastic.
Okay, that's great. And Jenny, you can put me down. I'm happy to be a council lead on the event. So
Perfect. That is much appreciated. Thank you, Councillor Hunt.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, so as Kristen said, all in favor. So raise your hand. Great. It looks like carried unanimously. So thank you for that. Moving on to consent items. 5.1, review of taxi cab licensing regulations in the city of Brantford. So we have staff to provide an overview of this item.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair Hunt. My name is Jill Binkley. I'm the supervisor of licensing here at the city. I have Alicia Chittenden to my left, our licensing compliance officer. And we'd also like to thank Jenny Sawicki for taking a very active part to assist in consultation with our taxi review committee. So just a little bit of an overview of the report. The city assumed, or the administration and enforcement of the taxi bylaw program was transferred to the city from the Brantford Police Department in 2018. So staff have had approximately 5 licensing annual cycles to learn about the program, and they did commit to council to undertake a comprehensive review. So that's kind of where we are now. A lot has changed since 2018. So the review, we really wanted to focus on accessibility and ensure that we're including appropriate definitions. We have gone out for engagement and consultation, which is still open. We're really hoping that the highlight of accessibility and accessible vehicles, accessible taxis, that all of that, we have a lot of questions in our engagement that relate to that. So we're hoping that the promotion that we've done, thank you to Maria's communication team, they've been instrumental in helping us get the word out. But we're really here today to sort of hear what the committee might think about the current taxi regulations. If there's anything that, you know, maybe we haven't thought of that you'd like us to include for consideration moving forward. But ultimately we're here and we would love to hear what you have to say. We're really appreciative that you have us on the agenda. So thank you for that. And we're here to answer any questions about the report.
Okay, so thanks for that, Jill. So before we go any further, can I get a mover and a seconder to place this motion on the floor? Ev? And, oh, sorry, Madison seconding, thank you. Okay, so discussion. Mayor Davis, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just to prove I am paying attention, I do have a question. And I think what's critical here is, what do those who use the service think? And I'm concerned, are we going to be able to access those riders through those who use the system currently, or who might use it more often if certain issues addressed? Are we going to connect with them through Let's Talk Brantford? Who is that survey system at? Have we thought about doing anything that's more targeted to those who would consider using the taxi system but have accessibility issues?
Absolutely. Through the chair to Mayor Davis, so we have tried to come up with a number of different targeted approaches and different methods. So we have, we do have posters for the taxi or Let's Talk Brantford platform in each of the cabs, so which would include the accessible vehicles. But we do have the library staff that have offered to assist in people completing the survey. We have engaged different community agencies and said if alternate formats are requested, please let us know, and staff will assist in completing the survey or information, or we will take the information down in alternate formats. But certainly if the committee has other methods that we could execute, we would love to do so.
Does the poster have a QR code?
The poster does have a QR code.
Wow.
Thank you to Maria's team.
It's not so well. We've been doing that for a while.
And
Even you and I know how to use QR code.
Yeah, there we go.
And Mayor Davis, we also, we have hung posters in places like the Wayne Gretzky Center. We've engaged people through the city's job fair recently, also through Scare in the Square. So we've tried to do a couple of different buildings. The Beckett building has the information as well. So we've tried to do as much sort of outreach, but we're always open and willing to do more.
What about organizations that provide services to those who have accessibility?
So we actually sent out a link to the poster, which has a QR code, but also a link to Let's Talk Brantford. So agencies, for example, community living, we've targeted different schools, all of the school boards, the transportation consortium. So we've tried to do a direct email campaign, if that's what it would be called, as well.
Yes. An email blast, but it's targeted.
Exactly. And we've also asked that those on that email please share within their networks as well, so hopefully catch more.
And so what's the timeline for all this, for completing that and then coming back to this?
Yeah, so what we're hoping is that we will close off the public consultation piece by the end of November and sort of gauge where we're at. We do have comm staff heavily engaged, thankfully. So they are kind of monitoring as we go. We have completed consultation in meetings with the brokers and with the drivers of the taxi companies. We've also reached out to Uber, and we have been consulting with them as well. So we have the rideshare perspective. We are hopeful that we will have draft recommendations put together in hopefully December, so that we can target the first quarter of next year to have those recommendations before council.
Sounds very thoughtfully planned, and I'm hoping the end result will be something we very much a benefit to us as we amend our regulations, and also, but more importantly, for those who actually use the service.
Okay, I just, I want to echo, so thank you very much, Jill, for kind of clarifying. The city runs the community distribution email list, which does go to a broad range of agencies. I also get the community distribution, so that may be one that you want to make sure it goes out via that email broadcast. So I'm not sure, I'm not even 100% sure who in the communications team or the customer service team runs that community distribution list, but yes, those emails come out probably weekly. So that would be a good additional resource, because then you're covering all agencies and anyone subscribed to the list.
Perfect, thank you so much. And sorry, one thing I forgot to mention with relation to Mayor Davis's question, and it was a great suggestion by Jenny Sawicki, was to actually post taxi consultation QR codes in the Brantford Lyft bus. So that was another, again, product of consultation with Jenny on this project. So staff have obliged. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or speakers on this item? Seeing none virtually, and I'm assuming none in the room, we will. So B says the following comments regarding the Rio taxi cab licensing regulations be forwarded to staff. And then we have A, B, and C. So Jill, what is it that you're looking for us to fill the blanks in there?
This was just an opportunity, if the committee had anything that we would certainly include it. But if you are, as a body, sort of in agreement with where we are at so far and sort of what the plan is moving forward, I think you could just receive the report.
Okay. All right, so that being said, then we'll call the vote. And I think you've done a very comprehensive outreach campaign. So other than that community distribution list, that was really the only thing that I could identify that needed to be added. So, so then we'll call the vote in favor of receiving the report, and just perhaps that adding that community distribution list under item B. Okay, so all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, and that appears to be carried. Okay. So 5.2, the 2024 meeting schedule. So can I get a mover and seconder to receive the meeting schedule for 2024? I see Sarah from Lansdowne and Madison seconding. Thank you. So any discussion on next year's meeting schedule? I don't see any virtual hands raised, or there's no one in the meeting room with any. Okay, no. All right, so all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, so that carries. And then 5.3, the minutes. So a mover and a seconder to approve the September 7th, 2023 minutes. Mayor Davis. And sorry, I'm flipping screens here.
Christina?
Chris, I see your hand. Oh, sorry, Christina. Yep. Thank you. Any questions, errors, omissions on the minutes? Seeing none, we'll call the vote to approve the September minutes. All in favor? Okay. So we have no resolutions, no notices of motion, and the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you to everyone, and thank you staff for helping me through the last minute sharing of that. Okay, everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
Ask a question.
Yeah.